because you watch inspirational media before. You watch it's been so many people I've heard that said, yeah, Uncle Phil was my daddy. James Evans taught me blah blah blah. Sesame Street taught you right and wrong.
You know what?
Therefore,
that's innate. You know right from wrong from birth.
exactly. You know right from wrong. So if you know better, you do better is a retarded saying to me because
Agree.
again, if you know better, then why are you still choosing to do? Which I know the answer is because you want to. You're not going to change until you stop doing, until you're tired of doing what you want to do.
And again, another one of my twisted hillbilly philosophies. Life consists of 3 C's. You have the freedom to make the choice. You either enjoy the celebration or you suffer the consequences. Most people in this society,
Yep.
they'll run from that. They don't wanna acknowledge any accountability.
Nope.
And they shy away from taking responsibility.
Nope. Yeah. Yep.
That's why we're headed where we're headed.
That's exactly why. And a lot of going back to the 25 and olders, it's our elders that help coddle us so much more in that aspect. Oh, the baby didn't, the boy didn't have a daddy. You know the boy didn't have a mama. You
You
know
know
he didn't
what?
have stop it. He have you, don't he? They got you, right? Why you ain't pitching them right and wrong then? Stop blaming it. At some point in time, you have to own up to your BS. And that
Exactly.
time was 4 years ago.
You know what? My late grandfather, my mother's dad, he had a solution for everything. Everything. He go, and again, I'm country, but he go, just beat him. Just beat him. He beat you for anything, everything. Just beat him. And he didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. Go finish. I'm sorry. I cut you off. Go ahead.
Like now, people talking about spankings and whippings. No, where I'm from, you didn't get whippings. You didn't get spankings. They call them beatings.
I was about to say beatings. Yes. Beatings. And outside of white.
Yeah, okay.
Outside of being white, which is ridiculous because they sure do find it appealing to beat others to get things done, but them kids are there.
Okay. Them little crumb snatchers.
But that is only to a degree of beating at what I feel like. Yes, what we call what is that? Not is it capital punishment or
Capital
whatever?
punishment.
Whatever. Yeah. What if beating works? But to a degree, like I said earlier, there's levels to virtually everything in the world, if not everything.
I mean, you can definitely go too far with the beating because it borders on the way I came up. Both my parents would have been in jail a long time ago.
But again, if that be the case, then all of the nation of white need to be in jail.
But you know what?
Because it worked.
Out of 6 kids, out of 6 kids, none of us were ever in prison. None of us ever went to jail for there's a thing about it, like you said, to a certain extent. It's called even the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child.
How many of y'all shot up a school?
Do you think? None.
You can't remember. You probably did.
Hey, I know my daddy, if you walk out that house with a gun, or if you walk out that house and he missing a gun, you won't make it to school.
Exactly. He gonna use it on you somewhere.
Okay? For real. I mean, I left
play around with guns now. Let me tell you how I feel.
I left my house. I left my daddy's house a month before I graduated high school with his 38 to my head.
What?
His 38 to my head.
Oh man!
It was that classic black man's promise. I brought you into this world. I'll take you out.
Well, you know what's so funny about what you just said? The Cosby Show is my all-time favorite TV series of all times, and I just got finished watching the first. I want to say the first 5 to 6 episodes of the first season. And that
Hmm.
first episode, the very first episode, when Theo was breaking them bad grades home, and he, you should accept me for who I am, you and mom, and just love me for that. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard, Theo. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. You know what? I brought you in this world, and I would take you out. You're gonna do your best for him. I was like,
Well,
man, yeah, that's funny. That's
unfortunately,
funny.
unfortunately, I don't have, and this I'm being real. Unfortunately, I don't have any recollection of. I don't watch television now, but I don't remember ever before my accident. I don't remember anything before that. So one of the things that I would do before I started writing, there was a show, a channel, they called it the Throwback Channel.
Hmm.
It showed all these sitcoms from like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and
Okay.
that's where I learned a lot about as much as I knew about the past. I learned from watching those old television shows.
Hmm.
But,
Oh,
but,
hey,
but now
hey.
I don't. Now that I've been engaged in writing for the past 3, 4 years, 5 years. I spend probably 98% of my waking hours on the computer.
Did you regain the recollection of those sitcoms and shows you watch were stereotypic of you
Nope.
and I? What? Look up a movie called Hollywood Shuffle.
Hollywood Shuffle. Yeah,
It's a comedy. It's a comedy, and it has written by Robert Townsend. I think it's written and directed by Robert Townsend, but Robert Townsend is a big part of it.
Hollywood
Townsend.
Shuffle.
We all got to get out of here. I got to go pick up my little man from
Whoa.
practice.
We've been at the. Is that,
Oh, practice,
why
practice.
you
See,
talk so
press.
long?
It's all good. He good. He good. I always record for like an hour or more. I
Oh,
try
okay.
not to. Try not to if we if possible, but I love conversation and I be babbling on.
Yeah, you do
So
babble.
yeah.
But no, honestly, truthfully, it has been very interesting. My wife, she was like, "What you gonna talk about?" I don't know. You ready for it? Yeah, as ready as I'm gonna be. And she's like, "Well, did he send you any questions?" No, because a lot of times people send me a list of questions. They'll be like, "Okay, we're gonna cover this." But it's been real. I can't say that it hadn't. I really have enjoyed hanging out with you. Just the fact that your take on living, and a lot of times, like when I write, when I send an email or whatever, um,
Hmm.
on my author platform, it's signed. I don't have my name. It just says "Live Life." And what you're talking about, most people I've found. I'm gonna say this in closing. Most people don't live life. They exist.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
allow life to live them. They go
Hmm.
through their days from day to day simply in a reactionary state.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I like that. I hear that. I don't know the purpose of life, but I come up with a theory that the purpose is living. The purpose of life is living. Like, and I don't, and I don't mean living your best life. That's retarded saying as well. that's another retarded saying to me. I'm living my best life, but we in the same freaking boat, man. How you living your best life and I'm not living my best life?
You're inhaling and you're exhaling. That's the best you can do.
So I'm not talking living your best life. I'm talking about actually living, not being afraid of other people's imagination of you. You actually being yourself. You actually. That's why I stated earlier before we even got started with the show. Say what you want to say, how you want to say it. If you was mad when you were saying it, hey, let that be. Isn't this part of what expression is? Hey, look, I can only give you advice. You have to hearken on to it. So
That's it.
yeah,
Again,
I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just trying to tell you what can be done.
like I said before, the three C's. You free to make the choice. You either enjoy the celebration or you suffer the consequence. That's life. My
Yep.
psychiatrist asked me, oh yeah, I put three of his kids through college. But my psychiatrist, he asked me, he said, what is your basic definition of life? I said, my basic definition of life? He said, yeah. I said, you're born, you suck wind, and then you die.
What was the middle one?
I said, you're born, you suck wind for as long as you can, and then you die. And he said, life is not that simple. I said, yes, exactly that simple. I said, be just as sure as you're here, you had to be born. If you're born,
Mm-hmm.
in order to sustain life, you got to be able to breathe. And just as sure
Mm-hmm.
as you're born, you're gonna die. You're
Mm-hmm.
born, you suck wind for as long as you can, and then you die. All that stuff that comes in between, that's what we do to complicate life.
Yep. 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 And you said earlier yeah, about breathing. If we didn't know we was breathing or not, I get like you said. I mean, you suck wind. People didn't even realize it. You didn't even realize you're sucking wind until you read the statement. Until you read that you was breathing at the time you read that you were breathing. You didn't even
Oh
realize you
gosh,
was
that's what
breathing.
I've been doing for 20 years.
Exactly. I told somebody that so many people would probably suffocate if I let them know that they're
They're
breathing.
breathing.
They would probably suffocate if I say, "Hey, you're breathing right now." Oh yeah, they would start to begin to try to regulate breathing when you've been doing it your whole life and didn't even realize
You know what's funny? What's funny? True to life, true to life, true to life, true to life. When I and it still happens every now and then now. But when I got out of the hospital, I would actually be there would be situations where I would forget to breathe, and I realized that when obviously it's gonna have an adverse effect on you. And like,
it.
oh shit, I'm not breathing.
Hmm
And I mean, it got that bad, man. Yeah,
Well, in your particular case, you didn't know no better.
you know what? I'm gonna take that and run. You gotta
Again,
check it out.
pleasure talking to you, man. Pleasure talking. Hey, say what you promote. Say what you want to. You said you write books. You're an author. Say all that stuff. You want to shout out anybody? Say all
I forget about the fact that I'm a published author.
that.
But no, the not it's a long story about the novel, but I'm just gonna it's family. This is the current edition, revised edition. Family ties thicker than blood. It's a coming of life tale about a young man from Georgia. He leaves Georgia, moves to New York as an aspiring actor slash model, and he more or less accidentally saves the life of a crime boss by the name of Oswald Jenkins. But you can't be a
hmm
crime boss named Oswald. So they on the street they term him Oz. So Willie saves Oz's life, and Oz he becomes a father figure. That
hmm
represents a problem for the previous second in command, Anthony or Amp. And so Amp teams up with another former protege by the name of Jerome, and they hatch a plan to take over Oz's territory. So Willie is running things for the crime.
don't tell everybody. Don't tell everybody the story. Let them go to get. Let them go to read it.
I gotta get to the interesting part.
Oh, okay, okay. My bad. Go ahead.
Willie is running things for the crime boss, and he becomes romantically involved with NYPD officer Ernestine Lady. That's
hmm
where it gets complicated.
Yep, yep. It sounds complicated. You can't be a crime boss and having affairs with the
Well, you
law.
can't. You can. Now that's just one of his affairs, but that's another story. Well, actually, that's in the story, so you have to check it out. I was just in Las Vegas the 8th of this month. This is the revised edition of my first novel. I was awarded 2023 Best Fiction.
Awesome, 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 awesome.
Anyway, that's what I do. I mean, like I said, I write. I'm working on now my third novel. I had planned to launch it December the 15th, but there's some issues with the layout and design team getting the print files ready. So I'm going to push the launch back to probably February the 9th.
hmm
But it's It's a really really good story. Really good.
Yeah, it's cool.